You may be seated. Alleluia, Christ is risen. Today, Jesus is welcomed back to the land of the living. Welcome back, Jesus. Today, we shout Alleluia. The trumpets, organ, and bells ring out. We lift up songs of joy and praise. We share a meal here at this table, and then a festive brunch in the fellowship hall. We toast with sparkling juice, and we take pictures, perhaps even in the great outdoors. Thank God for the great outdoors. Thank God for the beautiful weather this week, because honestly, if it weren't for this spring and this spring week, it would be hard to feel like celebrating at all. This Easter comes at a time when so much is going wrong in the world. Ever since January 20th, when the first executive orders of this presidency were signed, many of us have been struggling to keep it together. The consolidation of power in the executive branch, the mass layoffs of federal workers, the mass deportation of our immigrant neighbors, fund freezes on desperately needed services, the betrayal of international allies, the man-made, or should I say, one man-made global economic turmoil, all these things and more are weighing on our communities, on our workplaces, our schools, our healthcare providers, our nonprofits, our family relationships, our financial stability, not to mention our emotional well-being. And all these things are added on top of all the problems that we already had, whatever we were struggling with in our own families and our own hearts, as well as global issues such as increasingly disastrous impacts of climate change and war in countries around the world. There is so much uncertainty right now, so much chaos, so much to fear, so much to be angry about, so much to fight back against, so much that the majority of us are left either paralyzed or completely numb. What does Easter mean in the midst of this? Does it have any meaning at all? The story of Easter is a story of defiance. On Easter Sunday, Jesus defies the ones in power. 3 days ago, the ones in power conspired to have Jesus killed. They used money to get what they wanted. They bribed one of Jesus' allies, had him arrested out of public view, and immediately found him guilty in a middle-of-the-night kangaroo court. They handed him over to the ones who had even more power, who in turn had him belittled and humiliated in the way that only the most insecure people know how to do. They executed him. They sent him into the ground, and they said that it was over. The ones in power said that he belonged in the ground, so they put him there. On that first Easter Sunday, God overturned their decision. God said, "You people in power, I am not going to do what you tell me to do. Your power only goes so far. It is fleeting, limited in ways you do not have the wisdom to see. You people in power cannot stop this movement that has been born. It is bigger than you. It is beyond your power. You are the ones who are powerless after all." The ones in power buried Jesus, but they didn't know that he was a seed. In these past several months, and at times throughout our lives, we have known fear. We have known anger. We have known grief. We have known desperation. But today we also know something else. Today we know that death does not have the last word. We know that the ones in power do not have the last word, that fascism does not have the last word, that exploitation, xenophobia, and Christian nationalism do not have the last word. The Holy Spirit is stronger. It is bigger. It is more powerful than we can recognize in one short lifespan. No matter how many times those in power try to put it in the ground, it always rises again. The Holy Spirit is alive in this world. No one can stop it. And the Holy Spirit is always ready to emerge in us, ready to move through us if only we get ourselves out of the way. The divine life force, life with a capital L, is coming back to life in you, and it is coming back to life in me. Earlier I said that today Jesus is welcomed back to the land of the living. Well, it's not just Jesus. Today, we are all welcomed back to the land of the living. Today, we are welcomed to this land of the living with a capital L, to a life where we are free to be fully human, fully ourselves. We cannot change the fact that we find ourselves living in this particular moment in history. We cannot change that the ones in power are trying to put us in the ground. But we can live. We can let that sacred, defiant Spirit of Christ take us over. Let it move through us. We can let it carry us into compassion, into community building, into resistance, into healing, and into love. They tried to bury us, but they did not know that we were seeds.